Hello friends, how you doing? Day 1281. Hope you're doing amazing. I got a little bit of a trim today. Thank you to my friend Kayla. But I wanted to come in and just share with you a little bit of what I'm reading. And as you can see from the title, Are You Living an Intentional Life? And so, the book I'm reading is Intentional Living by John Maxwell. Phenomenal book. Seriously, I read it almost yearly now, but at least once every couple of years. It helps keep me on track of what I want to have in my life. And so I just want to share a small passage with you. So he talks about living an intentional life versus an unintentional life. So if I were to ask you that question, what would the answer be? And I think you already know. But let me share. He says, when you live an intentional lifestyle, you see many possibilities. When you are unintentional, you see few. Intentional living always has an idea. Unintentional living always has an excuse. Intentional living fixes the situation. Unintentional living fixes the blame. Intentional living makes it happen. Unintentional living wonders what happened. Intentional living says, here's something I can do. Unintentional living says, why doesn't someone else do something? And so, what is intentional living? It's really about understanding what is it that you want in this life. And I think that is also one of the most challenging questions to answer. I think for the most part, a lot of us, we can kind of answer what we don't want. Like, I don't want this job. I don't want to get up at 6 a.m. to fight rush hour traffic. I don't want to be whatever, right? But what is it that you want? And so intentional living answers a lot of that. And so for myself, I know I've been searching for that answer since I was young. So, like everything I did was like, what does this matter in the bigger scheme of things? What does this matter? What does this matter? And I always kept seeking the answer to that question. And only when I got around different people that were living a different life, people that were living an intentional life, I was able to start seeing what is possible. And I think sometimes we get caught up in what we know, and what we know is incredibly limited. It also still is for me. Even though I've met lots of different people, have had lots of different conversations, have had lots of experiences. However, I still know like barely anything. That's why I continue to ask. That's why I continually am curious and ask other people their perspectives. Because I truly don't know everything, not even close. So I'm very limited in what I know is possible. And so I try to get around people who are living a bigger life, living a life of intentionality, significance, impact, because those things are important to me. So what is it that's important to you? And again, these are not easy questions to answer, but it goes down to your core values. What is actually important to you? And here's a hint on how you might be able to answer that question. Think about what makes you emotional. When you're emotional, there's something there. It means that something is important to you. When you're triggered, there's a clue as to what is important to you. The question is whether or not you use that trigger, you use that opportunity to ask and self-reflect. Because if you didn't ask and self-reflect, you wasted the opportunity. Of course, you can reflect later on. However, every time you are emotional about something, it gives you an opportunity to ask yourself, okay, why am I emotional about this? There's something here. Something is really important to me. Because if it wasn't important to you, there is no emotion. And emotion can be positive and negative. If you're really happy or joyful, that gives you an opportunity to ask yourself, oh, why am I feeling this way? There's something here that's important to me. Or if you're really mad or really angry, really sad, that's also emotion. And that will also give you an opportunity to understand what's important to you. Anyways, that's kind of all I wanted to share with you, my friends, tonight. It is a little late, but I did want to share that because I think it's really important for each of us to live an intentional life. I don't think we're here just to work and pay the bills. Like, seriously, do you? And if you live in Vancouver, barely get by, barely have a life. Like, come on. I want a life of choices. I want a life of impact and significance. What is it that you want? When you can figure out that answer, then you can start to live a life of intention. And I definitely recommend reading this book. Phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Anyway, hope you're having an amazing night. I will see you guys tomorrow. Ciao.